Girls short story. How to survive as a cross-dressing woman in the Holy Knights. Northern border of the Edelheim Empire, permanent garrison of the White Holy Knights. This order of knights was a strict group that swore purity and humility in the name of God. Any act exposing the body, regardless of gender, was an absolute taboo. Showering, bathing, toileting, and treating wounds were all allowed only by oneself or with a priest blindfolded. You had to wear thick underwear under your armor at all times, and showing your naked body, even in the barracks, was summarily punished as an insult to God. Reyna, 23 years old, was the second daughter of a frontier count. The person who was originally supposed to be a knight was her younger brother Leon. Leon was sickly from an early age. While training as a knight from the age of 10, his body was damaged, and he eventually died of pneumonia. The Count forced Reyna to make a choice to protect the family. You become Leon. From that day on, Reyna inherited her younger brother's name. From the beginning, my body was slim and well-muscled. After I started training as a knight, my shoulders broadened and my back, abs, forearms, and thighs became stronger. My breasts became small and flat due to exercise, and the curve of my pelvis almost disappeared. Her face was quite pretty for a man, but no one thought she was a woman because of her battle-tan skin, sharp eyes, and short black hair. Sir Leon has a rather delicate body, but his sword skills are real. It was an evaluation that fellow drivers occasionally made. Even if the top was visible, if you didn't look down, you would never think it was a woman. Ariel, 21 years old, was from Goa. From a young age, she picked up a sword to survive on the streets and naturally chose to disguise herself as a man. She also had a similar body type to Reyna. For a man, he had a handsome body and looked somewhat delicate, but in reality, he was tightly muscled. His chest was almost flat, and his deep voice made him the perfect male knight. Ari. It was during the Battle of the Red Swamp, 8 months after joining the team, that the two learned each other's secrets. It rained heavily that day. Reyna, Leon, received a deep cut on her left side from an enemy spear. Blood seeped into my armor, causing pain every time I moved. Due to regulations, treatment had to be done alone. She sneaked out to a deserted river and took off her armor one by one. The moment I took off my top to wash my rain-soaked wound, I heard a noise from behind. Leon? It was Ariel. She, too, had secretly come to the river and was trying to treat the wound on her arm. Ariel gasped when she saw Reyna's exposed upper body, small, flat chest, but battle-hardened shoulders and abs. Reyna immediately drew her sword. You also. Ariel slowly took off her armor. She, too, was exposed to the heavy rain with her almost flat chest and muscular body. The two glared at each other for a long time, and at the same time, he burst into tired and empty laughter. If we want to survive, we have to protect each other. From that day on, the two became thorough accomplices. Reyna was calm and had a strong sense of responsibility. Because of the guilt of becoming a knight instead of his younger brother, he played the role of Leon more thoroughly than anyone else. When his comrades were having a hard time, he stepped in first to help them, and during battles, he took charge of the most dangerous places. But inside I always felt lonely. If I wasn't Leon, the thought crossed my mind every night. Ariel was a little sharper and more direct. Because I was an orphan, I didn't trust people easily, but Reyna was an exception. She understood Reyna's loneliness better than anyone else. For bitches like us, just surviving is treason, he sometimes muttered. Life as a knight was not easy. After waking up at dawn every day, we wear full-plate armor and undergo 3 hours of sword training. Reyna's shoulders and back muscles felt as if they were going to burst, but she gritted her teeth and held on. Ariel's wrists were always swollen from how she wielded the spear. To use the bathroom, you had to go to a remote bush at night, and if you didn't have someone standing guard, you never knew when you would get caught. When menstruation began, several layers of cloth prepared in advance were applied and held on for more than 12 hours to prevent blood from leaking from inside the armor. Bathing was allowed only once every 2 weeks, in a bath of holy water with the priest blindfolded and wearing underwear. Despite this, The two were doing surprisingly well. Reyna rose to the position of vice-captain, and Ariel earned the nickname Silver Spear for her spear skills instead of her magic sword. He was a skilled man recognized even among male knights. However, the attitude of male knights toward priests, especially female priests, was always uncomfortable. All you have to do is keep up with us, let alone fight. Can't we just show our breasts or butts? These bitches who swore in God's name can't even hide their bodies properly. These were crude jokes made while drinking in the barracks after training. Reyna and Ariel internally gritted their teeth every time they heard those words. We're women too. But are you calling us colleagues when we can't even say things like that? Today's battle was especially fierce. The enemy is about 300 Black Wolf mercenaries. The White and Silver Holy Knights were defending the Highlands with 180 men. Reyna Leon stood at the forefront and swung his sword. Although the full plate armor was heavy, her trained shoulder and back muscles supported her. When the enemy cavalry stabbed with a spear, he lowered his body to deflect the spear and simultaneously raised his sword. Clap! The enemy's neck was cut in half and blood gushed out like a fountain.
Leon!
Right. Ariel's cry was heard. Reyna immediately turned around and raised her shield. The enemy's axe hit the shield, and the shock went up my forearm. She gritted her teeth, pushed away her shield, kicked the enemy, and then slashed her sword horizontally. The enemy's thigh, exposed through the armor, was deeply cut and blood splattered. The battlefield was full of blood and screams. Ariel wielded a spear and protected Reyna's side. When Reyna penetrated the front, Ariel blocked the back, and when Ariel disrupted the enemy lines, Reyna charged. In the middle, a red spear grazed Reyna's side. Her armor tore and blood flowed, but she did not stop.
Ari!
Back! Ariel immediately threw the spear and pierced the chest of the enemy aiming for Reyna. The battle lasted nearly 2 hours. When the enemy finally retreated, the Holy Knights shouted. Reyna and Ariel looked at each other once and nodded silently. We protected each other today, too. Inside the Silver Fox barracks, the campfire light was dimly illuminating the tent. The two people took off their armor and sat facing each other with only their upper bodies in their underwear. The well-trained, muscular body, which still smelled of sweat and blood from battle, glistened in the light. Reyna spoke first. Today, if it weren't for you, I would have died on the right. Thank you, Ariel.
Adios, Miled.
She walked up to Reyna and roughly pulled her by the back of her neck. The kiss was rough from the beginning. The adrenaline from the battle still lingered, so they bit down on each other's lips hard and pushed their tongues deep into each other's mouths. Reyna roughly pulled up Ariel's underwear, exposing her small, flat chest. I massaged it vigorously with my palm and rubbed my nipple with my thumb. Reyna, today, really hard. Ariel's voice cracked. Reyna pushed Ariel onto the bed and took off her pants. As they took off their pants, their muscular female bodies were completely exposed. Bruises and small wounds from the battle were visible on the inside of the thighs, but this only made them more excited. Reyna spread Ariel's legs and pressed her body between them.
Tritting.
The two pussies hit hard, hot and slippery. Reyna moved her waist vigorously. Her toned abs and thigh muscles tensed, and she rubbed her clitoris hard against Ariel's clitoris.
Ah!
Reyna, your clit is harder today. I can feel it.